Now, news of Alexei Navalny's death emerged as Germany and Ukraine signed a long-term security pact here in Berlin. The German government has also promised more cash and military equipment to help Kyiv fight the Russian invasion. Yevgenia Kravchuk is a member of the Ukrainian parliament and speaks for President Zelensky's Servant of the People Party. And she joins us now from the Munich Security Conference. Welcome to DW. Chancellor Scholz has described this bilateral security agreement as historic. Do you share that assessment?
Well, actually, I think it's very symbolical that the security agreement was Germany was signed just ahead of Munich Security Conference, and we're happy that Germany is actually the second country to do that. And of course, the ultimate goal of Ukraine is to join NATO. But before that, we need not just, the statements about the deep concern, but a very solid paper and a solid agreement. And it actually gives the numbers for this year for military aid, and which is really important, basically the collaboration in the military production together with German companies.
There's a similar package with France, and as you say, Ukraine is working with other countries as well. What difference do these long-term commitments make to your government?
True, it's been followed by agreement with France, and President Zelenskyy signed it with President Macron. And yes, it is actually a commitment with the numbers, with projects. And as I just talked to my colleague from French Parliament, and she's chairing the subcommittee on defense, she's really happy about it as well, because it does have the content. Also about the collaboration together with French companies. And I think it's also important both to Germany and France, because it will actually support and boost the economy and the producers of weapons.
It's been widely reported that $60 billion of aid from the US is currently stuck in Congress. What are you hearing from your American partners about if or even when that money will come through?
Well, actually, you can say that here in Munich, everyone says that, our eyes are looking to DC, to the Hill. What's going on there? And Kamala Harris today was speaking at the opening of the conference, and she sent the same message, that we have to finish the job. America has to finish the job and pass the bill. As you might see in the news, there was another alternative bill registered in the lower chamber in the House of Representatives, and it was initiated by the Republicans, by the moderate Republicans. So it gives the clear vision that votes are there, but it's still not, they didn't find a compromise. And oddly enough, but I don't think it's odd, actually the murder of Navalny, the death of Navalny, also brought the importance of aid to Ukraine into the light. And actually there was a statement from Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the lower chamber, saying that we cannot allow Putin, win the war and wreck the international order and, have impunity for what he does.
So the death of Navalny, but also, if we look at the situation in, for example, Avdiivka in Ukraine right now, a situation like that, fierce battle, what does that tell us about the need for allies to support Ukraine?
Well, it's crucial. We can talk, but, I have, my fellow friends in Avdiivka, and they're texting me, saying just, be frank with our allies there in Munich. Russians have more than up to 5 times more of artillery there and 7 times more people there. So we can never get more soldiers on the field than Russia can bring. But actually, we desperately need missiles, artillery, to at least have the parity in this field. So it is crucial, and it's about lives.
Apart from missiles and artillery, President Zelenskyy replaced the head of the armed forces recently. How are your partners responding to that move? I mean, are you worried that that might sow doubts in people's minds?
If I got the question correct, you're asking about the drones and the special forces.
No,
as
I was actually asking about the head of the armed forces who has been changed recently. So there's a new head of the Ukrainian military.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just a working process. It's been 2 years into the war, so there are changes in the military command. We value what previous command did, and we just trying also to bring more new generals, like fresh generals from the brigades up to the higher positions, because they know the situation on the ground. And the clear aim of President Zelenskyy is to bring everything which is needed to the front line.
Yevgenia Kravchuk, a member of the Ukrainian Parliament, thank you so much for speaking to us on DW today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Ukraine has received a substantial amount of military aid from its supporters, but it's also become very resourceful in building weapons of its own for the battlefield. DW's Nick Connolly reports now.
We're only allowed to film their hands. These workers are building long-range reconnaissance drones somewhere in Ukraine. This is a prime target for Russian missiles, so they've spread out the workforce to various locations in Ukraine and in the EU. Only about a tenth of the pre-war team is left. The idea is that if one facility is hit, the others can continue. And yet staying in Ukraine is worth the risk, not just because many of their staff can't or won't leave.
We have to be close to the people using our drones. We need to be here to repair and upgrade the technology quickly, to get their feedback and make sure we can make the drones better. This is the best place in the world right now to develop and test this kind of technology.
When Russia invaded 2 years ago, this company was making drones to protect wildlife from poachers or spot wildfires. Now, everything they make goes to the army. With Western munitions deliveries dropping off, the intelligence these drones provide is crucial to make sure every last shell counts.
Our soldiers have very limited resources. Shells and all kinds of munitions are at a premium. They can't afford to fire if they don't have visual confirmation from our drones that they've got the right target. This technology gives them that in real time.
These drones have combustion rather than electric motors. That means they can fly for upwards of 12 hours, rather than 2 or 3. In theory, they could fly to Moscow and back, but they're normally found doing endless loops above the Ukrainian battlefields. Volodymyr commands a drone unit. He's back from the front line to give the engineers his feedback.
I come here all the time to help the guys make these drones better. War is never static. It's all about the change. If we allow ourselves to stand still, we will lose. Our only advantage is our motivation. And it's a big one. Our enemy is very, very strong, and we cannot afford to underestimate them.
Ukraine's best chance of achieving parity on the battlefield is to use comparatively cheap technology like this to destroy Russian weapons worth many times more. Volodymyr and his men are constantly doing the sums.
If I was to add it up, I'm sure these drones have helped destroy targets worth much more than we spent destroying them, either on the drones themselves or US missiles.
That calculation sometimes makes it worth sacrificing one of these birds as their pilots call them.
Low clouds were getting in the way of us watching what was happening on the ground. We could see 2 Russian Buk air defense systems, and we decided to descend to get a better view. I was there to direct the HIMARS strikes right up till the last moment. We ended up destroying one of the Buk units at the cost of my drone.
Small, inconspicuous plants like these are going to be key to Ukraine's chances against Russia's vast resources. These are weapons that Ukraine can make for itself without other countries' support. The engineers here just need to be sure their location remains a secret and hope their country's air defences can stop the Russian missiles.